All right, so I'm going to go through and do this example question, okay? And you're going to see exactly what your work should look like when you upload it for the quiz. So first, you're going to identify what A, B, and C are. In this case, A is 4, B is negative 15, and C is 6, okay? A good idea would be to write the formula here, opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. And honestly, I would almost just like go ahead and copy that right here on the top of your quiz right now, because that'll make your life a little easier. Okay, so here we go. X equals, okay, opposite of B. So it's opposite of B, right? Negative B. So if in this case B is negative 15, my opposite of B is going to be positive, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C, and that's all over 2 times A. Okay, now what you're going to do over here is you're going to do the math for B squared minus 4AC. Okay, so I'm going to take this math, and 15 squared is 225 minus, okay, and how did I, let me pause for a second. I'm going to decide what this sign is. Is it going to be negative or positive? Well, let's take a look. This is going to be negative times positive, that's negative. Then that negative number times this positive number, so it is going to be negative. 4 times 4 is 16, times 6 is 96. And then I'm doing 225 minus 96, okay, and this, I'm using a calculator. Okay, I get 129. Okay, so for in edge elastic, your B squared minus 4AC is this number. And notice I'm not taking the square root. Okay, so that's a little bit different than what we did on our first quadratic formula assignment. But the thing is that actually the square root of 129 is like a big old long decimal, and we're not going to take the square root at all. So I'm going to bring this back to my formula. I'm going to bring down my 15 plus or minus. I'm keeping the square root because notice all that I simplified was what was inside the square root. This is 129 over 2 times 4 is 8. Now, I'm not simplifying 129. Okay, I'm not simplifying it. Why? Because if I take the square root of 129, and you can go ahead and do this in your calculator, I get a big long decimal. It's called an irrational number. It's a decimal that doesn't end, it doesn't repeat. I don't want to deal with it, so I keep it. Now let's say I had gotten 121 here, and I put that on my calculator, then I would have just gotten the number 11, and I would have put it here, and that's when I would have actually gone ahead and split it and done the math. But in this case, I'm just going to split it into two solutions. Okay, this plus or minus still means two solutions, so it's going to be 15 minus the square root of 129 over 8. Okay, now that's going to be my smaller solution because that has, I'm subtracting this number, so that's going to create a smaller solution. And my larger solution is going to be when I say, you know what, I'm going to add that number instead, because it's still a number, so if I subtract it, my answer is going to get smaller, and if I add it, it's going to get bigger. It's just that I'm not actually doing out the math because this number is ridiculous and I don't want to work with it. Okay, so your work will look exactly like this for one question, and for the other question, the only difference will be that there'll be a number here, and there'll be like one or two more steps where you're actually doing out the math. Okay, but this is what your work should look like on the pre-quiz and on the quiz, and this is the work should look like when you upload it.